All right, we're here on the No Holds Barred Show, Sirius Satellite Radio, Sports Byline USA with the babyface assassin, Josh Barnett. Josh, it must feel good to finally fight in the United States again.
It's nice to be in such a high-profile event, and I think I'm always striving to bring to the States more of what I think that MMA should really encompass. And while I certainly don't knock what a company like the UFC has done to help promote our sport and bring it to another level, but I don't think that is the end game, and where that really, I think we got a lot of work to go still.
What is the end game? I mean, is it for fighters to make more money, to get a piece of the bigger pie? I mean, you see boxers. The low-level boxer makes more than your most famous mixed martial arts fighter. So are you in it to obviously you were a guy who was well known in the beginning of mixed martial arts, and you're still around here when it's getting pretty big. I mean, is it your goal to get the up-and-coming fighters more money?
You know what? That's up to them. The thing about fighting is that there is no union. This is not a social system where if I make more money, then that's going to trickle down to everybody else. It comes down to what kind of a draw you are, what kind of, whether you've got the pull to bring the numbers. And really, I don't even really ask that we get anything other than the same sort of treatment as far as if it comes to us making money. If we are selling the products, whether with our names on them, if people are buying the fights, then we should get the cuts that are deserving of us. But really, it's not even just about money. I just think that MMA in and of itself needs to be more family-oriented. I'd like to see the sort of thing where there's more individuals in this sport. I would like to see it in the sort of atmosphere that it's not fringe, and I want it to be the kind of thing where a company like Nike or Adidas or a Gatorade or whoever won't think of it as some sort of why would we couldn't get involved with that. Look at how how violent it is, or how this or how that. I think our image needs to improve, and I just think that we need to make some steps to not stick ourselves in a rut to where eventually the phase dies out, and then we're no longer making that money anymore.
You mentioned a point, making it more family-oriented. How would you go about doing that in a sport that they're fighting in a cage, there's blood and guts being thrown around? You said before, kicking to the head. What are your thoughts on how to make it family-oriented?
Have Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck fight.
And Tom and Jerry?
Well, that's pretty much a given. But I mean, let's not go for rematches. Let's bring some new blood into it.
Let's not go for rematches. You're fighting a rematch, right? The only guy to knock you out, your first loss in MMA. I mean, that's a rematch in itself of historic making.
That's true, and we got a lot to live up to from our first bout. But it's not even about blood and guts. It's not about whether you can soccer kick or stomp a guy. It's not about moves. It's really more about environment, and it's about the way you put your product together. If I turn on a UFC pay-per-view, I see nothing but knockouts and quick cuts, but yet MMA is not all about knockouts. A lot of it has to do with grappling and wrestling and submissions. How are you programming your audience, especially those that may not be are likely not hardcore fans, to appreciate a sport when you program them to look and expect and to really think that one aspect is really the pinnacle of your sport, when you know damn well that's not even the thing that happens the most. The majority of the time is spent through technical work in the ring. So now you get a submission and people don't pop for it. They don't respond. It's not a big deal to them. And the only person you have to blame is yourself, because look at the way you put your promos together. The way you present your product is all just about any casual fan is going to have to make up their mind and to really catch their attention and to give them first impressions. That's what it comes down to. And I think with Affliction, we got the ability to showcase the ring, showcase a global international group of fighters, and also take a bit of a different approach to MMA that has not been tackled before.
Sounds good, man. So how are you going to tackle your opponent, Pedro Rizzo? Obviously, you fought him before in one of the best fights in MMA history. And any game plan? I mean,
yes, I'm going to cover myself and stick him, and I'm going to jump on him, and eventually we're going to end up on the mat, and I'm going to do a small joint manipulation when the ref's not looking, and he's going to tap out to a finger lock.
Well, you're famous for those locks, obviously, but you don't want to stand up with Pedro to rock Rizzo, obviously, right? You do want to take it to the ground.
No, absolutely, I want to stand up with him. I thought that it was so tasty to get punched in the mouth at least one time that I got to try it again just to see how it works for me. See, I don't remember the first one, so I got to try and get that opportunity to actually live through it, remember it, and be like, oh, that's why I like doing this. That's why I'm waiting to get punched in the mush. But look, at this point, you can't avoid anything. You got to fight everybody on the feet. You got to fight everybody on the ground, and you got to be able to. You're not going to get what you want out of either aspect without having the ability to be dangerous and to operate in the other. I'm not taking anybody down without being able to hit them. Straight up. If I got no stand-up, that guy doesn't think anything about any of my striking ability, chances are I'm not taking him down. And vice versa, if he's not afraid of being taken down, it's going to make it a lot harder for me to implement a lot of my rhythms and striking on the feet.
Cool. So we look forward to you standing up, doing some takedown, that small joint manipulation. All the best, and it's great to see you back in the United States, Josh.
Hey, it'll be good to be here. And this is my buddy Vadim Finkelstein. He's from M1 Global. Apparently he wants to be a part of this interview now. It's okay, I'll translate for him. Anyways, it'll be great to be back here with Dobry Jutro, yeah. It'll be great to be back in the States and to start suplexing some guys over here on home soil and dump them on their heads. I think you guys need to see that.
We will. July 19th, man. We'll be in Los Angeles. Thanks, Josh.